My name is Elaine J. Wilson. The original story never gave an age, so I will only say this. I was old enough to know the difference between trust and denial, but tired enough to confuse the two for far too long. I had known about Kayla since the beginning, the best friend from college, the woman Nathan called basically family, the one who had been there before me, the one whose place in his life I was never supposed to question. I accepted it because I trusted him, and because every time I raised an eyebrow, he made me feel like I was the problem. Too sensitive, too insecure, too threatened by a friendship I should have been mature enough to understand. So I swallowed the unease and called it growth. But that night, something was off. Kayla's hand was on his waist again, lingering like it belonged there. Her mouth stayed too close to his ear when she whispered. He would laugh, tilt his head toward her, and never step back. I watched it happen once, then twice. By the third time, something in my chest tightened hard enough that I finally walked over. "Can I talk to you for a second?" I asked. Nathan glanced at Kayla. She gave him a little shrug, like she was generously releasing him, and he followed me toward the hallway. I kept my voice low. "Kayla has been glued to you all night. What is going on?" He sighed immediately. "She's like a sister, Elaine. She's going through a breakup. Let her lean on me." "It is not leaning. It is the hands, the whispering, the way she keeps looking at me like I am interrupting something." "Do not be that girl," he said. "The jealous girlfriend. It is not a good look." "I am not jealous. I am noticing." He placed one hand on my shoulder, soft and patronizing, like he was calming a child. "Notice less. She is family. Let me be a good friend." I looked at him. We were in public. People were already glancing toward us. I could have pushed. I could have made the room awkward and given him the exact excuse he wanted. Instead, I nodded once. "Fine." He went back to Kayla. She looked at me over his shoulder and did not smile. I went into the kitchen to get water, because suddenly every drink in that house tasted sour before it touched my mouth. That was when I saw it. Kayla had Nathan backed against the counter, one hand cupping his jaw, their mouths together. Not a quick mistake, not a drunken brush of lips that could be explained away before sunrise. A real kiss. Slow, intentional. Nathan's eyes were closed. He was not pushing her away. Something cold clicked into place inside me. I did not scream. I did not throw a drink. I crossed the kitchen, grabbed a fistful of Kayla's collar from behind, and yanked her backward. She stumbled, choking out a shocked sound, hands flying to her throat. "What the hell?" she gasped. I dragged her through the living room. People turned. Someone shouted. Phones came up. Nathan was behind me, saying my name like I was the emergency. Kayla started yelling that I was insane. I opened the front door and shoved her onto the lawn. She hit the grass hard, rolled once, and came up sputtering. "You are crazy!" she screamed. I closed the door. The party had gone silent. Every eye was on me. Nathan stood near the hallway, face pale, mouth slightly open. I grabbed my keys. "We are leaving." He did not argue. Not there. He grabbed his jacket and followed me out. The car ride was worse than the party. Silence filled the space between us, thick and heavy. Streetlights slid across his face while he stared out the passenger window, arms crossed, jaw tight. He was not crying. He was not apologizing. He was angry. I finally broke the silence. "Start talking." He did not turn. "What is there to talk about? You humiliated me in front of everyone." "She kissed you." "She was drunk. She is heartbroken. It was a stupid moment, and you turned it into a scene." I kept my eyes on the road. "Why did she think she could kiss you?" He did not answer. "Nathan, Women do not just kiss men out of nowhere. Something made her believe that was allowed. His voice sharpened. Because she actually listens to me. She asks how I feel, and here's the answer. She does not go cold and logical and distant. She is present in a way you have not been in a long time. The words landed clean and brutal. So this is my fault. I did not say that. That is exactly what you said. Silence did the rest. I thought about every time I had brought up Kayla and been called insecure. Every time I had asked for boundaries and been told I was controlling. Every private conversation he had saved for her while giving me leftovers. I did not speak again for the rest of the drive. When we reached the apartment, Nathan walked in first. I sat in the car for a moment, hands still on the wheel, realizing the relationship had ended before I even parked. When I walked into the apartment, Nathan was already standing in the bedroom doorway with his arms crossed, still wearing that same expression of righteous certainty. He had kicked off his shoes. The dim lamplight caught the hard line of his jaw. I could feel it before he spoke. He had decided I was the problem, and now he was ready to sentence me for reacting to what he had allowed. "I've been thinking," he said. "Have you?" "I'm not sleeping with you until you apologize to Kayla." For 1 second, I laughed, not because it was funny, but because my mind refused to accept that he had actually said it. After the kiss, after the car ride, after the silence where his apology should have been, he was still protecting her. He did not laugh back. "You humiliated her, Elaine. You grabbed her by the collar and dragged her through a room full of people. She is embarrassed. You owe her an apology." "She kissed my boyfriend," I said. "I removed her from the room." "You put your hands on someone because your ego was bruised. That is not okay. So here is how this is going to work. No sex, no intimacy, nothing until you apologize to her. Maybe some distance will help you reflect." I stared at him, searching his face for some trace of the man I thought I loved. A crack. A moment of shame. Anything. There was nothing. Just cold certainty, and the kind of moral confidence people wear when they have already rewritten the story to protect themselves. 3 years. The weekend I slept in a hospital chair after his surgery, eating vending machine crackers because I would not leave the floor. The credit card debt I quietly helped pay down so he could breathe again. The male coworker I distanced myself from because Nathan said our closeness made him uncomfortable. And through all of it, Kayla was sacred. Always touching, always whispering, always defended. I thought about every sacrifice I had renamed love. Then I let it go. "Okay," I said. He blinked. "Okay, what?" "Okay. I understand your position." His posture softened slightly. He thought he had won. I could see the satisfaction flicker behind his eyes. "Good. I'm glad you're being reasonable. Kayla and I are getting coffee tomorrow morning. She's really struggling after tonight. I will let her know you are open to a conversation." Coffee. The morning after she kissed him, while he punished me for reacting to it. I turned, walked into the living room, and closed the bedroom door behind me. I slept on the couch that night, or tried to. Mostly, I lay there in the dark, listening to the refrigerator hum and feeling 3 years of my life detach from my chest one thread at a time. At 8, I heard his alarm, then the shower, then the closet doors. At 9:15, Nathan walked into the living room, dressed and freshly shaved. "I'm heading out," he said. "Kayla is waiting. We can talk when I get back." I looked at him from the couch and said nothing. He waited, gave a small, disappointed shake of his head, and left. The door clicked shut. Footsteps on the stairs. An engine starting, then silence. I got up. I called my sister first. Lucia was 3 years younger, worked remotely, and had a spare bedroom. She picked up on the second ring. "I need to store some things at your place," I said. "Maybe stay for a while. Can you be home in an hour?" A pause. "Are you okay?" "Not yet," I said, "but I will be." Next, I called the landlord. I explained I was moving out, arranged to pay my half of the remaining lease, and started the process to remove my name from the paperwork. 15 minutes. Done. Then I packed. Clothes from the closet, toiletries from the bathroom, my laptop, my documents, the small ordinary objects that become proof you lived somewhere. I left Nathan's things untouched. His shampoo, his shoes by the door, his clutter on the counter. I was not making a scene. I was removing myself. While clearing the shared desk, I saw his old phone plugged in behind the lamp. He had replaced it 6 months earlier and forgotten about it. The screen lit up when I picked it up. A message preview from Kayla. "Are you okay? Last night was insane. I can't stop thinking about—" I knew his passcode. He had given it to me years ago. I typed in the 4 digits, opened the thread, and scrolled. Months of messages. Late-night conversations after I'd gone to sleep. Private jokes, selfies. Nathan venting about me. "She is so emotionally closed off. You are the only woman who actually listens to me. If Elaine could just be more like you." And Kayla, answering exactly the way she had been waiting to answer. "You deserve someone who sees you." Her loss. "If you were mine, you would never feel alone." Then the line that stopped my breath. Nathan had written, "You are the only woman who understands me." I set the phone down. My hands were steady. I did not take screenshots. I was not going to war. I did not need ammunition. I only needed clarity, and now I had it. I finished packing in 2 hours. 3 years became 1 suitcase, 2 duffel bags, and a box. I walked to the kitchen, pulled the notepad off the fridge, and wrote 4 words. "Sleep with her then." I placed it on the counter, centered and impossible to miss. Then I picked up my bags, walked out, and closed the door behind me. At the first red light, I blocked Nathan's number, then Kayla's, then every app where either of them could reach me. The light turned green. I drove. Lucia was waiting on her porch when I pulled up. She took one look at my face and did not ask for the story. That was the thing about my sister. She knew when questions were helpful and when presence mattered more. She grabbed one of the duffel bags from my trunk, carried it inside, and pointed toward the spare room. "You can stay as long as you need," she said. That was the first sentence in 24 hours that did not ask anything from me. The first night in Lucia's apartment, I did not sleep. I lay on the mattress in her spare room, staring at the ceiling while the window slowly changed from black to gray. I was not replaying the kiss. I was replaying Nathan's voice in the bedroom. "You owe Kayla an apology." The certainty of it. The way he twisted Kayla's betrayal and my reaction until he became the victim, she became the wounded friend, and I became the unstable woman who needed to reflect. 3 years of trust, and I had been sentenced without a trial. Other memories surfaced. The anniversary dinner where Kayla showed up uninvited, and Nathan insisted she join us because she was having a hard week. I paid for all 3 meals and sat there while they laughed at private jokes. The work trip I canceled because Nathan felt anxious about a minor procedure, only to later read him telling Kayla I was too controlling with my caretaker energy. Every time I asked for boundaries, he called me insecure. Every time I noticed something wrong, he called me dramatic. By morning, the pattern was impossible to unsee. Lucia came out around 8 and poured me coffee without asking. She sat across from me at the kitchen table, hair messy, laptop already open beside her. "You do not have to explain today," she said. "I left a note," I said. Her eyebrows lifted. "What did it say?" Sleep with her then. Lucia looked at me for one long second. Then she nodded. Good. By day 3, the fog started lifting. I went for a run because my body needed somewhere to put the adrenaline. Lucia and I cooked dinner that night, and I laughed at something stupid on television. It startled me. The sound felt unfamiliar, like hearing someone else in the room. Then I realized I had not thought about Nathan in hours. The silence I created was not punishment for him. It was medicine for me. 10 days after I left, Nora called. She had been at the party, one of the few people who saw Kayla kiss Nathan and did not pretend the room had imagined it. She did not gossip. She only said, I think you deserve to know what happened after. Nathan came home from coffee with Kayla and found the note. He was furious. Not heartbroken, furious. He called people, Nora included, telling them I was unstable, possessive, emotionally abusive. The kiss, when mentioned at all, was reframed as a drunk mistake. He doubled down on Kayla. Spent every day with her. Posted photos of them together, brunches, walks, movie nights, captions about people who show up when it matters. He was trying to make you jealous, Nora said. I know. Within days, Kayla's mask slipped. The chase was over. She became possessive, entitled, careless. She told people they were basically together before Nathan had even admitted what they were. The woman who had once been the perfect listener now wanted proof that she had won. They slept together, Nora said carefully, for days after you left. I let the words sit. Once that would have split me open. Now I checked inside myself and found clear weather. I am fine, I said, and I meant it. The story kept unraveling. Within 2 weeks, Kayla lost interest. She started seeing someone younger, someone new enough to make her feel chaste again. When Nathan confronted her, she told him, according to Nora, I never asked you to leave your girlfriend. You did that yourself. Clean, cruel, efficient. The friend group fractured. Some stayed with Nathan out of habit, but the ones who mattered began peeling away. Nora told a few people the truth, the kiss, the way Nathan did not pull back. The old phone messages eventually entered the conversation, through someone else who had seen enough to stop protecting him. What people had dismissed as a weird friendship was suddenly visible as an emotional affair that had been running for months. Within a month, Nathan had lost the girlfriend who loved him, the best friend who had only wanted to win, and half the social circle that once defended him. He could not afford the apartment alone. I heard he moved back in with his parents to reset. Kayla was already gone, chasing the next thing. That night, Lucia and I made pasta and watched an action movie with too many explosions. I laughed when a car blew up for no reason. Lucia laughed at me laughing. I slept well. No dreams. When I woke, the sun was bright through the window, and for the first time in weeks, the chapter felt closed. Not because Nathan had suffered enough, because he had stopped mattering. A week passed, maybe 10 days. I settled into Lucia's spare room slowly, not like someone rebuilding a life yet, more like someone learning that silence could be safe. The mattress was on the floor. A thrift store lamp sat beside it. My clothes hung in a closet that smelled faintly of cedar and laundry soap. It was not much, but it was mine. Every object in that room belonged to me and carried no weight of Nathan's judgment. I started cooking again. Stir-fries, omelets, pasta with whatever vegetables were on sale. Nathan had always hovered in the kitchen, correcting how much salt I used, teasing me about how careful I was, telling me Kayla cooked by instinct, and that I made everything look like a spreadsheet. I used to laugh because I thought love meant absorbing small cuts without bleeding on the floor. Now I cooked in Lucia's kitchen with music low and the window cracked open, and nothing in the room demanded I justify myself. Lucia and I fell into an easy rhythm. She worked from her room, emerged for coffee, let me be quiet when I needed quiet. We ate dinner together most nights and talked about nothing important: movies, weather, a strange thing her coworker had said on a video call. She never pressed for details. She could see I was rebuilding and gave me space to do it. I started running every morning, sometimes 3 miles, sometimes 5. There was a park near Lucia's apartment with a tree-lined path that opened toward the river. I would stop there, hands on my knees, breathing hard, watching the water move. The same river every day, never the same river twice. The calls began on day 2. Unknown numbers. I let them ring. The first voicemails were clipped and businesslike. "Elaine, we need to talk about the lease." Deleted. By day 5, the tone shifted. "Please, I know you are getting these. I just want to talk." Deleted. Then came emails to my work address. Subject lines like, "I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Kayla is not who I thought." I set up a filter that sent them straight to trash. Nathan tried mutual friends next. Nora called once and said, "He asked me to reach out." "You do not need to carry his messages," I said. "I know," she answered. "I told him that too." A few of his friends tried. I gave each the same answer: "I am not discussing this." Then I stopped answering numbers I did not recognize. By day 8, the silence returned. I thought he had accepted what I had already accepted. The door was closed. The chapter was finished. I was wrong. It was a Thursday evening. Lucia was out on a date. I was alone making stir-fry, garlic and ginger filling the kitchen, while a podcast played quietly from my phone. The window above the sink was open, letting in cool night air. The knock came at 7:30. 3 sharp pounds, a pause, 3 more. I turned off the stove, walked quietly to the door, and looked through the peephole. Nathan. He looked terrible. Hair unwashed, face thinner, eyes red-rimmed and swollen. He was wearing my old gray hoodie, one I had left behind in the apartment, wrapped around him like it could still connect him to me. He knocked again, harder. "Elaine, I know you are in there. Lucia's car is not outside, but the lights are on. Please open the door." I did not move. "I just want 5 minutes," he said, voice cracking. "That is all. I made a mistake, a huge, unforgivable mistake. I know that now. I am not here to blame you. I just want to say I am sorry, face to face." A month earlier, the sight of him like that would have destroyed me. I would have opened the door. I would have pulled him inside, made tea, absorbed his pain, and called it compassion. That woman was gone. "Kayla used me," he said, words spilling faster now. "She never loved me. She just wanted to win. Once you were gone, she did not want me anymore. She is already with someone else. She told me she never asked me to leave you, like I was nothing." I believed him. That sounded exactly like Kayla. "I threw away 3 years," he whispered. "I threw away the best thing that ever happened to me, for someone who saw me as a prize. I cannot sleep. I cannot eat. I am staying at my parents' house because I cannot afford the apartment. Please, Elaine, I am choosing you now." I closed my eyes and waited for something to move in me. Grief, anger, pity. Nothing came. Then his voice changed. "Are you even listening to me?" he snapped. "I am standing out here humiliating myself, and you are just behind that door like a stone wall. Do you even care?" There it was, the real Nathan, returning through the crack in the apology. "You are so cold," he said, louder now. "You have always been like this, calm, controlled, above everything. This is exactly why I went to Kayla. At least she made me feel wanted." The apology had lasted less than 3 minutes before curdling back into accusation. I turned away from the door. I walked down the hallway, past the cooling stir-fry, past my running shoes, and stepped onto the balcony. The city glittered below, indifferent and alive. Behind me, the knocking grew weaker. Then came footsteps, a car door, an engine, and finally, silence. The last thing Nathan ever said to me was through a closed door. I never answered. Months passed. Quiet months. Not empty, not dramatic, not cinematic in the way people imagine healing should look. They passed in ordinary mornings, clean laundry, cheap coffee, work emails, runs along the river, and the small private victory of sleeping through the night without waking up to check whether someone beside me was angry. Time stopped feeling like something I had to survive. It became mine again. I found a new apartment in the spring, a one-bedroom in a neighborhood I had always liked, but never seriously considered because it was too far from Nathan's office, too inconvenient for his favorite bars, too removed from the social circle where Kayla had always seemed to appear like bad weather. I chose it in one afternoon, signed the lease without asking anyone's opinion, moved in on a Saturday with Lucia's help and a rented truck. The first night there, I sat on the floor of the empty living room and ate pizza straight from the box. No plates, no napkins, no one hovering behind me, telling me I was careless or too rigid or doing something wrong. The walls were bare, the furniture was sparse, the silence was enormous. And for the first time in years, the silence did not feel like punishment. It felt like air. I got the promotion at work, the one I had been quietly circling for months, the one Nathan used to say I was too cautious to chase. My new boss called me unflappable during the review meeting. I smiled and thanked her. I did not tell her how I had earned that skill. I did not explain that sometimes calm is not a personality trait. Sometimes it is what is left after someone has tried for years to make you doubt the evidence in front of your own eyes. My social circle changed. Some people drifted away, mostly the ones who had always belonged more to Nathan than to me. Others stayed. Nora became closer than she had ever been. Lucia and I kept our Thursday dinners even after I moved out, because some routines deserved to survive the crisis that created them. I made new friends, too. A woman from work who loved old horror movies, a couple from Lucia's climbing gym, people who had never met Nathan, people who knew me only as I was now, not as the woman who kept swallowing discomfort to prove she was mature enough to love someone difficult. I dated eventually, nothing serious at first. Coffee with a man from accounting, drinks with someone I met at a concert, a walk through the park with someone who asked questions and actually listened to the answers. It felt strange, then light, then possible. I was not carrying the entire wreckage of Nathan into every conversation. I was just present, and presence felt like a door I was finally willing to open. Nathan faded. There were echoes, of course. Nora mentioned once that he had moved back in with his parents for good. The apartment lease ended, and he could not manage it alone. He tried telling people I had abandoned him, that I was cold and heartless, that Kayla had manipulated him during a vulnerable time. But the story did not hold the way it once might have. Too many people had seen the kiss. Too many people had watched him parade Kayla around after I left. Too many people had heard the old messages and understood that the kitchen was only where the truth became visible. The sympathy he expected never fully arrived. One night at a party, someone I barely knew mentioned him carefully. "He's doing better, I think, in case you were wondering." I nodded. "That's good." And I meant it in the distant way you can wish peace for a stranger, whose weather no longer touches your life. Then I picked up my drink and walked back into the living room, where people were arguing about a movie I had seen the week before. It was a good conversation. I laughed. I did not think about Nathan again that night. Not on the drive home. Not when I unlocked my apartment door. Not when I brushed my teeth, turned off the lamp, and slid into bed. I thought about my run the next morning. Whether I wanted to push for 5 miles or take it easy at 4. I thought about a project waiting for me at work. I thought about the man I had been texting. Nothing serious yet, Just a door not fully closed. I thought about my life, my quiet, steady, peaceful life. The one I had built after a party, a kiss, an ultimatum, and a note on a counter with 4 words. Sleep with her then. He did. And it cost him everything he thought would always be waiting. I did not take anything from Nathan. I did not punish him. I did not orchestrate revenge, expose him online, or beg people to choose my side. I simply stopped being available to lose. I closed the door, the literal one, the emotional one, every door he thought I would always leave unlocked. The last thing he ever said to me was through a closed door. The last thing I ever said to him was written on a piece of paper. As it turned out, that was all either of us needed. In the morning, the sun rose over my new neighborhood. The river kept moving past the park. I laced up my running shoes, stepped outside, and walked into a day that belonged entirely to me.